What about metrics? I mean, we talked a little bit about attribution, didn't we? And sometimes it's hard to attribute everything, isn't it? But from a content marketing perspective, what kind of metrics do you typically track for your B2B clients?
So the primary thing we like to look at is revenue. The uh, the attribution side of things, right, isn't always easy there. The closest that you can get a lot of times, depending on how sophisticated your setup is if you want to take just a basic level where we see a lot of people at, it's using something like the model comparison tool and looking at a 90-day look back window on first touch. But I think that's actually, maybe even if you do 30 days is sometimes better. Depends on how long your buying cycle is. But as far as other like attribution models go and things like that maybe track every single hit, I mean, a lot of times we just ask customers, like we'll put on our forums like a free form text field, how did you hear about us, right? And even though oftentimes what they answer is not how they actually heard about us, what they're telling us is the thing that stood out to them the most. What was the most impactful thing that they actually remember? And that's what we care about, is what did they actually remember? Because if they don't remember everything else, then I guess it wasn't, they didn't leave much of an impression, right? So we'll kind of gather that qualitative data there. And once we started doing that, things got opened up a lot of insights. We were working with a customer that helps CEOs and other like successful people write their books. And when we began asking this question, we found a lot of the attribution data was just off the mark. It was leaning more towards, I heard about you on this podcast. I heard about you from my friend when we were having wine. You get a lot of insight there that you don't get from attribution. I would tie them both together, but ultimately, if you bring those both together and tie it all the way through the pipeline, you want to track it to actual revenue. So if you get a lead, right, and once you pass it over to sales, or once it's going, if you're more product led, like once they sign up for a free trial, like continue to track that through the full cycle until they actually become a paid customer, and even beyond that too, which is where I think a lot of marketers kind of maybe stop at like the MQL area. But yeah, we focus on revenue, and been playing around with pipeline velocity too a little bit, from Chris Walker over at Refined Labs, since it's a pretty useful formula as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, well, I think most sort of forms from attribution sort of have the usual sort of tick boxes, don't they? Where did you hear from us?
Mm,
One might be LinkedIn, and that doesn't necessarily mean what was it within LinkedIn
mhm.
that captured your attention and made you convert. Where I think some of the more sort of not necessarily sophisticated marketers, but it's kind of touching on what you just said there. It's okay, you heard us on LinkedIn, but I'm interested to understand what was it that you saw on LinkedIn that attracted you to us. So it just gives you a little bit more qualitative type stuff rather than just the quantitative tick in the LinkedIn box.
Yeah.